Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the very, very hot topic in real estate today, which is acquiring real estate for a very aggressive price and then moving on to your financial goals and objectives from there. We're very happy to be joined with Mr. Brooke Fain, who's got more than 15 years experience in the industry doing just that. Brooke, thank you so much for coming in today.
Hey Brad, thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. So Brooke, as you know, and we discuss this on each and every segment of this show, we like to talk about these very unique processes that exist in real estate, and then we bring in experts such as yourself to help field some questions that come in directly from our viewers. So we're going to look to our live media stream for the very first question today, and that question is, how do I acquire a foreclosure property, and then how do I move forward with that process? Brooke, how would you answer that question?
It's a great question, Brad. I get it all the time. The first most important thing with getting a foreclosure property is don't do it on your own. You got to have a qualified team. This is what we do all the time. It starts with the fact that we could all figure out how to go change the transmission out of our car, but who would want to do that? When you work with a team, you're going to do it faster, you can create more momentum, and you're going to do a better job with knowing exactly how to get to the next steps in the game. We've worked with every type of buyer out there and investor out there. First-time home buyers, sometimes a first-time investor. My team has even worked with some of the largest acquisition guys in the business. Now, one thing that we do know is that a lot has changed in the past 5 years. Real estate is cyclical. We all know that. It's going to go through different cycles, and we've just reached another cycle. As a matter of fact, the opportunity to strike is now. So my answer to you, Brad, is you got to work with a qualified team. It's first and foremost, get the exact know-how for guys that are on the ground every day doing this. You're going to have the best success at it, and you're going to have a lot more fun with it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I'll tell you what, we've got another very good question now, which is basically, what's the next step with the process? And that question is, so I've just acquired a foreclosure property. It needs a little bit of work. What would you recommend I do from here? Brooke, how would you answer that question?
Well, Brad, what's most important, and maybe we've heard this saying, is you make money when you purchase real estate, not when you sell the real estate. What that means is that you got to know your numbers ahead of time. You got to know what you're walking into. Maybe one little secret I'll give away is that when you go in and you make an offer on a property, remember that doesn't mean that you've bought that property. You got to go through a lot of things. See, the thing that has changed over time, Brad, over these past few years is that the banks have gotten a lot more sophisticated based on what we've been through. So make an offer on the property, get in there, and find out what's going on with that property. Now, that also means that you need to know what your intention is. Do you want to flip that property, or do you want to hold on to that property and have a tenant inside that property to get rental income? So that's going to make a big difference about what it is that you need to do to determine what those next steps are. Thus, you've got to work with a qualified team. Have a coach in there by your side that's looking over your shoulder and finding the things that you're looking at. I know my wife likes to look at the beautiful countertops and the cabinets and the flooring. Myself, I'm looking at the ceiling, the backbone of the property, and everything that you might not be looking for. So how would you know to look for those things? Well, you got to have the right team in place. You got to know what you're looking for, and you got to know what your intent is and how are you going to make money on that property before you ever make the offer.
Well, those are two very valid points that you make, and overall, some really good content for somebody maybe taking their first try at this as a real estate investor entering this particular segment of the market. And I'll tell you what, as an experienced real estate individual, this is really good advice that sometimes I might overlook when I'm going into the next deal. So great points that you bring up, Brooke, and on both topics there. Thank you for that. Our very next question is, how is it best determined whether I will rent the property or if I should flip the home? Brooke, how would you answer that question?
Well, it's a great question. And the reason being is that we've learned a lot over these past few years. You can't come in and lowball any kind of offer on a property. So everybody thinks that they're going to come in and get rich quick on real estate. It's just not going to happen. It's going to take a little bit of work, some good advice, and it's certainly not about what you know, it's about who you know. And right now, you got to know what type of deal you're looking for. Now, are we looking for cash flow? That means that I might want to buy that property with the intention of holding on to it for some time. Or have I gotten myself, am I working with a team that's gotten me a good enough value that knows how to buy right, and in turn, you might get lucky and be able to turn that property fairly quickly and make a big profit. So one of the things that I might recommend is know ahead of time where you stand. Have you sat down? Have you taken what I call the vital statistics of where you are in your business? Are you a first-timer or are you a professional? Where do you want to go with this? Thus, by working with the right team, we'll know right then and there how to match up your buying needs, your criteria, and your threshold to exactly what inventory is out there, and that will determine whether you're going to buy and hold that property or you're going to fix and flip it, maybe turn a quick profit and move on to the next one.
Very good. Well, Brooke, I'll tell you, there's an old adage that my coach used to say, and that you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I'll tell you, if there's anyone out there who thinks that perhaps you might have a deal that you're looking at, or even that you might not be qualified or ready to take action on this, please give us a call at the number you see here. Our team will work with you. We are specialized, we are experienced, and we are very, very motivated to get your deals done in a timely manner and ensure, to the best effort, your profitability on the deal. Well, Brooke, you bring up some other very valid points in the real estate industry. And I'll tell you another great segue here, because we had a question just come across our live social media feed that asks, what is a specialized foreclosure real estate team comprised of? Now, we talk a lot about teams in this space, right? The real estate industry has all kinds of teams and groups of professionals and organizations. So how would you answer this viewer's question about a specified team that would go out to help somebody through the processes that you've just discussed with us?
That's a great question, Brad. Listen, I'm going to give you my quick list of what a professional real estate team should look like and can ensure your success if you're investing in real estate. First and foremost, you need a real estate agent or real estate professional that specializes in investment properties. Have they bought property themselves is very important. Secondly, these days right now, the banks are holding the cards. You need to be working with someone who's qualified to work directly with the bank. That is literally a quintessential part to this equation, is that can you work with someone who has a direct contact with the bank themselves. Secondly, you need an excellent mortgage professional. These guys are quintessential into making certain that you're going to be able to get your deals done and closed in closed escrow. I also can't live without my home inspector. My home inspector can go in, no matter what we've done in the beginning, to vet out this property. Once we can get inside the property and get a professional opinion about what's going on inside this property, or maybe what's behind the walls, are there pitfalls, or are there other things to worry about that might affect our bottom line or our profitability, my home inspector is going to know about that. And then lastly, I have to have a trusted contractor or someone that can help me with any kind of rehab work that's going to be done, whether that be cosmetic or a complete overhaul on the property. But most importantly, make certain that you're working with a team of professionals that know how to get the deal done and have done it before, time and time again.
Well, that really sums it up, Brooke, and I appreciate your feedback on all of this. If I heard it correctly, we need to be looking for a specialized real estate agent, a very good and experienced mortgage professional. And perhaps sometimes our first line of defense is that property inspector that can point out those fine details of the properties that we're interested in. And of course, to have a good contractor on hand to make minor or perhaps even more significant repairs on these properties. Brooke, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in office here, sir.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Thank you for your time. So folks, please, dial our toll-free number. It won't cost you anything to have our professionals weigh in on the deals that you may or may not be considering now, and perhaps we can shed some light on some deals that you might just want to take a look at. Folks, we're talking real estate. It's been a pleasure to have you here as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.